The declines that we've seen are definitely dramatic. Now, will they continue? That's the question. Are there enough krill? Does the population stabilize? There are plenty of chinstrap penguins in the world. They're not going to go immediately extinct in the next couple of decades. We've got some very large populations to the east of us in the Weddell Sea. So the issue is more, what are these particular chinstrap penguins telling us about climate change, probably, and other drivers of global ocean change in this part of the Antarctic, where it's warming more dramatically than anywhere else in the Antarctic currently. 5 degrees C over the last 20 or 30 years.
We knew chinstrap penguins were on the decline in the wider Antarctic Peninsula region for a number of years now, but really a lot of gaps in our data set means that we're not sure if this is a widespread phenomenon or not. As we've been going along with this expedition, it's becoming pretty clear that just about everywhere we look, chinstrap penguins especially are on the decline. And in a place like this, we can see gentoo penguins are sort of moving in to take their place in certain ways.
We did find one colony on Elephant Island that had a very large colony that had declined about 77%. That's a tremendous loss over a very short period of time. This is a rapidly changing environment here. And so what does that mean? Well, we found, at least if penguins are any indication, and we think they are, we think they're great bioindicators, that something's happening to the fundamental building blocks of the food chain here. That perhaps it's with the primary productivity, the phytoplankton or zooplankton, or perhaps it's just with the krill themselves. But we've got less food abundance that's driving these populations down lower and lower over time. And the question is that going to continue? Are we going to reach some stability point, some lower equilibrium? What's going to happen? We don't know the final answer to that, but we continue to come out here, check, and carry on. But in the meantime, the initial indications are rather worrisome. I wouldn't be necessarily that optimistic. We're certainly not there in the next couple of decades, but over time, over, as you say, the next 50 years, if these trends continue, yeah, it would be certainly of some concern. And moreover, it's not simply that they might go extinct. It's that wherever we end up on this downward spiral, we might be at a place that's just a lot less biodiverse, a lot less interesting, a lot less flourishing and abundant.
Sì, grazie.
We know that we're losing biodiversity at a very high rate, and this is true on land and it's also true on our oceans. We also see that healthy oceans is a very good ally against climate change and effects of climate change. So I think we stand to lose much of what we love, like the wildlife that we know from the oceans, like penguins, like we see on Elephant Island, but I think it also, in the end, it's sort of what kind of world we want to live in. Our oceans are incredibly important to regulate our global climate. There's more and more scientific evidence that tells us that we need to preserve at least 30% of the world's oceans by 2030. And one might say that there's a lot. Today we reached roughly around 4%, which is really, really low. But looking at that, if you turn it around, it still means that we can actively use 70% of the world's oceans. So it shouldn't be that big of a call really to protect unique places like we have here around us in Antarctica.